Good morning, good evening, good day, and welcome to Dramabuds. I'm Francine, I really love K-dramas, and I'm going to spend as much time as I want talking about them. Welcome to my podcast. Today's episode is different from the usual. I mean, usually I pretend to be like a decent, organized person who has like actual thoughts about the show. But now, my no thoughts, head empty, just anger. Pure anger. Today is no review, no recap, only ranting about the recently concluded, what would you call this phenomenon? This
Crap.
That was my sister. I'm so sorry. She's here. My sister, the one I talk about all the time, Ilene, she's here. Today we're going to be ranting about startup. And okay, first of all, hi, my sister.
안녕하세요.
Oh my God, don't do this. Okay. So introduce yourself, maybe.
Alright. Hi, my name's Ilene.
Thanks. That was nice. All
I
right.
was wondering what I would reveal. And then I realized I don't want to know.
We watch everything together, and you know, when we started this show, we had no expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We were not fans of Suzy. We're not fans of Namjoon.
Yeah.
We're neutral about them, but we
Yeah.
thought it's on Netflix. Why not watch it?
Yeah.
And then
we were pleasantly surprised. I mean, I did not expect the cinematography to look that good. And then, the thing is, we're easily distracted. So often when we watch a K-drama, we check our phones in the middle of the show. We did not check our phones at all. It's just like, oh, it ended already? It was that good. It was that engaging. And then,
like, okay, first, the pilot was great, and then we hyped it up to everyone. Oh, everyone should watch Startup. The pilot was so good. And then, you know, slowly, as the weeks went by, it's like, I kind of hate this. I kind of don't like what's going on. I mean, we usually have like the 6-episode rule, right? And okay, what happened was, I think around the third week that we were watching, we had like a long discussion until like 2:30 a.m. after the show, just talking about like, why are they doing this to Han Ji Pyong's character? What are they trying to do with this story? Dalmi is so unrealistic. She's such a Mary Sue. And like we thought, oh, okay, after episode 6, let's drop it.
yes.
But
Why did we watch it again? Lance.
no, Lance is her brother. No, it's because I said, hey, we had so much fun being mad. Let's
Oh,
continue
Lord.
to be mad.
Oh, Lord.
Right? It's so fun. I mean, if we stop watching it now, what are we going to look forward to
Yeah.
every week? We don't have other ongoing shows.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we don't feel anything anymore. Let's feel something. Anger. It has been the longest 2 months of my life.
We'd stay up until 3, 4 in the morning talking about this stupid show that we didn't even watch.
Like, after the 6th episode, we would start fast-forwarding scenes, just like, oh, let's just watch the Ji Pyong scenes because everything is terrible. But after we, basically do a speed run of the episode, we're on Twitter, we're scrolling, we're checking what happened, what are people saying, and then we get mad about what they're saying.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, one of the reasons also that I wanted to keep watching was, like, for Kim Son-ho's character,
course.
Han Ji Pyong. I mean, he's really good. It's like, I kind of wanted to see how, I mean, if you have this really compelling second lead, then that means your main lead has to be super compelling because he's the main lead, right? And then so I wanted to see how they would do that because Han Ji Pyong was already awesome. And then then they didn't do it. And I was just like, you just have to accept that Nam Do-san is better than Han Ji Pyong. But why? How?
Show me
Show
or
me.
tell me.
And then they told me, and then what I saw, I didn't believe it. So, I mean, I had to suspend my disbelief. And then even doing that was just no.
I mean, we had to suspend our disbelief for literally every aspect of this show. The
Every
character development, the business aspect
What
of
business? Sorry, I screamed. I got mad.
it. Okay, this is a weekly. This is how our
weekly
weekly
occurrence.
discussions go. But I remember like the stages of our hatred started with like, I hate Dalmi. She's such a Mary Sue. She gets everything. Like, at the first 4-6 episodes, it's like, oh, she has no qualifications. She's done nothing with her life. Her age, all of their ages, they're so murky to me. I don't understand the timeline of this show, right? They didn't even establish, like, are they really in their early 20s, late 20s? What did Dalmi do with her life between, quitting college to help her grandmother get her corn dog truck and, like, being a temp worker until the present day? I don't understand the timeline of the show. And, like, yeah, once again, Dalmi gets everything. Like, suddenly she goes into, the hackathon. Wow, CEO material. Right? She can spot trends.
Just because she can spot trends, I can spot trends. I can be a CEO.
Apparently, anyone
That's
can
all
be a
you
CEO.
need to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even need to be qualified for it. You just need to spot trends. My God.
Right? No, it doesn't end there.
Why study? Just go on social media all the time and study trends. Don't study anymore.
Doesn't even like stop there. It's like, I remember the first few weeks of the show, everyone was saying like, oh yeah, she's always been like CEO material, or she's such a good leader because of like the barista incident from the first episode.
She just did her job.
Right? She just did her job. And like, oh, she would be so good at business because yeah, she's able to handle stress and customers well. And it's just like, what?
Probably 8 out of 10 people in any company can do the same thing.
Once again, it's just like, so Dalmi is a Mary Sue, and I'm sorry if you're inspired by her, but...
Do not be! If you're inspired by her, look somewhere else!
There are a lot of inspiring female leads out there, everywhere else.
Yoon Seri! In Chloe!
She was a damsel in distress.
In North Korea, because she's a South Korean!
Do we excuse that? Okay, let's excuse that. Fine. Whatever, later we'll give better examples.
Yeah.
Wait, I was narrating.
Sorry. Go ahead.
You're hijacking like the timeline of everything we've hated about the show. First, Dalmi was the enemy. Like, oh, Dalmi is the enemy. She's the terrible character. Dawson is okay.
He's a soft boy.
Yeah. He's just, at least he has tech skills, right? At least, he brings something to Samsung Tech, to the business. Meanwhile, Dalmi just sits there and be like, I don't know anything. Ji-pyong, answer my 400 questions.
Dawson, let me be your CEO.
Oh, yeah, like, oh no. And then, the Samsung techs are like, oh, Injay said she's recruiting us. But, Dalmi is asking to be our CEO. She's so humble.
But she has nothing.
She doesn't look down on us. Like, yeah, she has no right to look down on you because she has achieved nothing. And like, her randomly becoming a CEO is not the inspiring, story out of nowhere. Exactly. Everything Dalmi gets is luck. Actually, even Dawson. Alright. Next on the train. Next stop on the hate train. Dalmi is the enemy. Next station, Dawson sucks. I hate Nam Dawson. I'm sorry if you like Nam Dawson. I'm sorry if you...
Explain why.
No, shut up. No, wait. Let me be the decent human being here, Ate. Why do we hate Nam Dawson? You start.
It's hard for me to come up with like a coherent like narrative of his character because it just feels so disjointed. I mean, he started out as this like awkward, geeky, insecure, soft boy kind of guy, which is, I mean, it has its own charm. Charm, not on me, but I can understand the appeal to others. And it was interesting to see how they would mold him into kind of like this, I don't know, like the chief tech officer, like how he'd find his confidence and like get the girl and be more awesome than Han Ji-pyong. Because, that's the premise of being the male lead. And then they suddenly just made him in this crybaby who's completely insecure. And then all of a sudden gets violent and smashes things and punches Ji-pyong in the workplace. I don't know how it happened. And I don't understand why it had to happen that way. Like, I know growth is not linear, but you have regressed so much and without cause. Like what major trauma happened for you to turn out that way?
Then, like, others will say, like, why do you have to go through trauma to be a flawed human being? Like, oh, we're all flawed. Yeah, and growth isn't linear. Yeah, his growth is linear. Negatively. Downwards.
Yes, downwards.
He's a terrible... I'm sorry if you fell for him as a soft boy at, episode 1 to 4, but by episode 15, or no, when did he start punching? Episode 12, he started becoming violent. Episode 11, he was a stalker.
No, I think even before that, he was
throwing the nameplate.
Yeah.
Throwing the nameplate at, Injay's dad. Yeah, whatever. Like, he's violent there. He starts throwing punches at his mentor in episode 11, and then by episode 12, he's just a crybaby, and then the worst time skip in K-drama history. I gotta say, that is terrible. That's a terrible time skip. And then suddenly, he's rich. He's confident.
He's in a turtleneck because he's Steve Jobs.
Yeah, wow. The Steve Jobs imagery. Much deserved. /S, if you can't get sarcasm, like most of his supporters. But anyway, so other than... What else do we hate about Dosan? A lot. I mean... Yeah, we went through his, absolute lack of character growth. And okay, do we talk about the writing already? Or just, what
Not
we see?
yet.
Okay, fine. The behind-the-scenes stuff, what we think the writer was intending, that will come later because PHR's angry size. Anyway. And then... What else? What else was terrible about the show?
Sam Santek.
I
mean, okay, I think they were trying to go for these goofy, guys, but they're actually great coders or whatever. But it's okay, first of all, they don't seem to be that great. They keep relying on Dosan for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then another thing was the whole, I think, they were there for comedic value, but then they weren't funny. It was just annoying to see them acting so immature. Right? I mean, for their age, I would expect this if they were high school or college kids, but they're not.
I have a question. For everyone who's trying to defend this drama. Didn't Dosan go to college when he was a child? Right?
Yes.
Right? It was established his imposter syndrome started because at a young age, he said, I should aim for this math prize, Fields medal or something, and then
award.
Anyway, and he was played by my boy Pilgu from When the Camellia Blooms, and he was in college, and then he got a question wrong to not embarrass the older person who was answering on the board with him, and then there are flashbacks of him in college again meeting these Samsung Tech boys, and I'm just like, writer, where's the continuity?
Yeah,
Please tell me what happened. So you're telling me he's been in college for 10 years? Huh?
Yeah.
Is he the genius you're talking about? Really? Anyway, and sorry, the Samsung Tech stuff tied in with the terrible business practices.
Yes.
I'm sorry, if you look up to this drama thinking wow, this is such a realistic realistic show that shows you the struggles of having a startup, right? Please don't watch this show. Please. Please reevaluate what you think realistic is. Mm-hmm. Please start reading actual books.
I would suggest that the 2 months you spend watching this drama, just get an internship in a data science company and then see what they really do there.
It's so unrealistic. And the worst moment in this entire show, one of the very worst moments for me was the soap opera in the middle of demo day. Okay. I don't know. I forgot the backstory. It's Injay, Dalmi's sister, is starting this AI thing for security cameras, and then the security guards are their job security is gone because they're gonna be replaced by AI, whatever. And then Dosan's dad is as a security guard, so he barges into demo day and starts asking Injay what how do you say it?
Yeah, something how heartless can you be considering what this will do to people like me who has this as their livelihood. And tech is moving too fast, blah, blah, blah.
It's okay, cool, valid moral points, sure. But we are in the middle of demo day. There's a panel of investors and judges here listening to Injay Company's presentation. There are international investors watching this. This is being live streamed. And you're telling me you're having a soap opera moment. Where is the security? Maybe this is why Injay Company made this tech thing is because the security guards aren't doing their job and stopping people like you from disrupting their business.
Right? No, but that's not even the worst part. The worst part is that Dawson comes in because like NJ starts questioning, well, your son is doing the same thing. I mean,
yeah, he's in the tech industry also. Yeah.
So why does this standard only apply to me? And then I don't know, I think their argument was something like, me and my son chose different paths in life. And that's just how it is. And I'm just like, what?
They had this big teary moment staring at each other in the middle of demo day. If I were an international investor, I would turn off the live stream. I would say, skip ad. What's happening? Why are we watching this show?
Please call security. Get this man out. He's crazy.
Right? It's like, I'm sorry, we watched an amazing Kdrama recently, live, starring our boy Cho Sung-woo and Lee Dong-wook, written by the same writer as Stranger, same director and writer, right?
Yeah.
So it's high quality.
Not sure about the director, but yes,
not sure about the director, but yeah, the writer, same writer as Stranger, so it's high quality. And like, there was this scene where, it's hard to describe it. Hard to describe the show. But there was like this big soap opera moment where the Lee Dong-wook and his brother, I forgot the actor's name, Lee Kyu-young. His younger brother, okay. Jin-woo is Lee Dong-wook and then Sun-woo is his younger brother, and his younger brother is in a wheelchair because of a childhood accident that basically immobilized his legs. And so there was this drama with the deputy director of the hospital, and like the deputy director basically discriminated against Sun-woo for, being immobile or being in a wheelchair, right? And like, Dong-wook, how do you say it? What happened?
What are you
Dong-wook
talking about?
essentially like, because the
No, isn't the soap opera part about the brother?
Yeah, but like he did something. It was a soap opera moment. It's like, I guess he was defending his brothers. Okay. So basically, the deputy director was saying like, everyone had a hard time because of you, the Sun-woo, the younger brother, because like he went to med school and everyone had to adjust for him and take care of him while he was studying to be an orthopedic surgeon, right? A doctor, right? And then his the older brother Jin-woo was like, don't say that to my brother. You have no idea how hard he's worked to become a doctor despite his disability, like that. And it's basically in the context of like they're confronting this deputy director for corruption, for some sort of corruption, right?
It already sounds good, right?
Right? I mean, okay, so many details are lost in this recap because we're not supposed to be talking about the show.
I know.
But it's just so good. And it's like the fact that we were watching this as we were watching Startup. And it's like, wow, the quality is day and night. It's day and night. But anyway, I digress. My point is, there is a way to do like this big confrontation soap opera moment where it actually fits into like the context of the scene or the setting of the scene as a whole. But if you're just shoehorning in this dramatic moment where it doesn't make sense because there are other people in the room. It's not just you and Injae and Dosan, right? They're international investors, they're panelists and all. But in life, it was just them having a private conversation with other witnesses. Right? So it made sense that they could take the time to have that dramatic conversation. But with Startup, it's like, if I were an investor, once again, I would ring them up and be like, please get rid of this man. I do not understand why you let this man into this building. I would invest in Injae's company. In Injae's product. I would invest. Please make sure this never happens to any other demo day ever. Please.
I guess I'll talk about the time skip then. Like the most useless time skip in the planet. So essentially, what happened at some point was that Dalmi and Dawson signed this contract with like this international company that eventually meant that they could recruit the engineers. So that would be like the original Samsung Tech coders, and Dalmi and Saha would be left jobless, but with money because of course they received money because they the company was bought, right? And then there was this 3-year time skip after that. Oh, by the way, and then Dawson and Dalmi broke up because he had to leave for the US and all that. So yeah, there was a 3-year time skip. The thing was, the only purpose of the time skip really was just to prop up Dawson's status. He became like this big hotshot tech person with
Who worked in
who
Silicon
worked in
Valley.
Silicon Valley, and so now he's back in Korea and he's rich, and it's like superficially he's on the same level as Ji Pyong now. So he's it's a fair competition. That's what they kind of wanted us to believe. But then, in terms of like the actual character, there really wasn't much growth there. He was still insecure, which I guess people will say it's like, oh, because that means being wealthy and successful doesn't get rid of your imposter syndrome or something. Which fine, but it just didn't make a lot of sense,
Right?
to be honest.
And it didn't make him look good as a character.
Yeah.
It's like the main excuse of, the DDS, the Dodal Defense Squad. The Dodal Defense Squad is that, pre-time skip. It's like, they make these mistakes or these decisions because they're immature, or they're young. It's their youth, right? They're not that mature yet. Unlike Ji Pyong, who's a geezer, who's an uncle, who should be more mature than all of them. And, but post-time skip, you're saying, but, growth isn't linear. It takes time to be a more mature, better person. So it's like, what was the point of the 3-year time skip then? It was just to make him rich.
Exactly. And the thing is like, because like a criticism of Dawson before the time skip was that, it's not wrong for it's wrong for Dalmi just to be his dream. He should want things for himself. And so when he went to the US, and the thing with the time skip is that the only reason for it was that, so now I achieved everything that you told me to achieve. And then I realized that it's not my dream. Dalmi is still my dream. And like, that's okay, honestly. I can, sort of appreciate the whole idea of like success not being what we actually want, but a relationship. But the way it was done, it just made him look like a simpering idiot. Do we talk about the writing now?
Wait. There must be more. There
Really?
must be more towards the end.
Yeah, because we didn't watch it anymore.
Yes. Episode 12, when we found out there was going to be a time skip, we decided
Nope.
there is no salvaging this show. Right? It cannot be saved from the pit, the garbage fire, the dumpster fire that it is. And you know what? They turned it into a landfill fire. It's just a burning pile of garbage at this point. Like, by the time it was the finale, it's just like, I'm so tired of hating this show and I'm so glad it's over. Like, whenever I saw it was, the weekend, it's like, oh God, it's this show again.
Right.
We have to, witness this. Because we can't escape it. It's everywhere. It's on Twitter. It's on Facebook. It's in our household because my mom is watching it. My brother is watching it. They ask us if we watched it. We say, we don't want to watch it anymore, but we know everything that's going on. Okay? I hate this show so much. And it has tortured me. It has pained me. And where was I going with this point?
I think you wanted to find more things to shit talk about, so. Or the writing. Do we go to the writing now?
Oh God, we have to go to the writing. Do we talk about the love triangle?
It's part of the writing.
It's part of the writing. Okay. Alright.
Here we go. Alright, so the writer of the show.
Wait. So first stop was Dalmi is the enemy. Second stop is Dawson is the enemy. Dawson is the last stop, PHR is the enemy. Parkier yun, you messed up.
That is not the last stop.
What was the last stop?
The last stop is Korean entertainment expectations that the main lead, since they bring in the money and the advertisements and all that, means they need to get the happy ending. Or
yes.
Even if narratively does not make it. That is the last enemy.
Okay.
Korean entertainment society.
Alright. It's like the conventions of the industry,
yes,
made this happen. But going back, one station back, PHR is the enemy. Where do we begin?
Alright. So the thing is, Park Hae-roon, she's known for a lot of Susie's works. Susie's projects. Dream High while you were sleeping. But then it's like her female muse is Susie, her male muse is Lee Jong-suk, but then he's in the army now. Anyway, I was gonna say that if Lee Jong-suk was not in the army, would he be the main lead of Startup? I don't think so, because they did that while we were sleeping. Anyway, I watched while you were sleeping, the pilot at least, before Startup began. And I really liked it. I mean, I was surprised because I was like, I have low expectations for Suzy and
For Lee Jong-suk.
Lee Jong-suk also. And I was like, oh, hey, this is actually good. And then when I saw it start up and I saw, oh, it's the same writer. Oh, okay, so it's really good. It's really her style. And then I was right. This really is her style. Only the first episode is good and the rest is downhill. Yeah, okay. So the thing with the writing, let me know if you want to interrupt
Go
any part. The thing with the writing is, so in this is the most, this is the theory, but I have opinions about this theory as well, so I'm not sure. So the thing with Korean series, especially when they're not fully pre-produced, is that there's like the first half and the second half. The first half is like pre-produced before it's aired, and then the second half is like being shot while the series is being aired. So that's usually where like maybe feedback comes in, or like you sort of make adjustments to your original story based on, you know, what people are saying, what people think. So the first half of the show was like way better than the second half, right? I mean, even if it started going downhill from the pilot, it was probably still at like a 7 or maybe a 6
until episode
8. Yeah,
8
10. I think 10 was like the complete garbage.
Yes.
That's where they punched each other, right?
No, that's 12.
Oh, that's 12. Okay, something else. Something else happened at episode 10. I know I hated it. Anyway, yeah. So
the reveal of the...
Right. So I think the what separates the first half from the second half is like the reveal of Han Ji-pyong being the one who actually wrote the letters. Yeah, and the thing is, so the first half, it was actually pretty okay. The annoying thing about it is that they sort of dragged the letters part, and that sort of like served as the background to why the love triangle was there between Dosan, Ji-pyong, and Dalmi. But then Dalmi didn't really know what was going on, so a lot of it was really just about Dosan and Ji-pyong. They were trying to go for like this kind of romancy, rivalry kind of thing. And it was, I mean, there were cute moments, but honestly, it got old quite fast. And then it was also sort of the way for, you know, Ji-pyong to start realizing that he might have feelings for Dalmi. So, I mean, a lot of it really was hinged on the letters and the lie. And so that was sort of the premise of the first half. And then came the second half. And the biggest thing about the second half is that they just dropped the letters like it was nothing. I mean, when Dalmi found out that it was Ji-pyong who wrote the letters, and all she thought was like, oh, so it was all a lie. And then, oh, Dosan, hi.
It's like, okay, that happened in episode 10, and then episode 11, we thought, so there's gonna be a confrontation, right? There has to be something. But, you know, Dawson chased after Dalmi, and then they just said, let's reset. Dawson just said, just forget everything you knew about me before. This is the real me from now on.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Ji-pyong confessed very nonchalantly, and Dalmi did not react. That's it. They never talked about the letters.
Yeah, they never talked about the letters until the finale.
Yes.
And but then by then it was just like a cheap shot at it. You know, it's just like, I was not the person in the letters.
Yes, that Dosan in the letters is a fictional character. I mean, you know, it just doesn't make sense. Like, prior to, you know, for the first half of the show, yes, you know, Dalmi played up the letters as if for 15 years, you know, I stayed single, I did not date, I did not look at anyone, did not care about anyone because I was still hoping to meet the Dosan in the letters. For 15 years, for a year, the hardest year in her life, she held on to those letters for comfort. And then, yeah, she met, you know, the real Dosan in the flesh. And then she found out Dosan in the letters and Dosan in the flesh are, you know, not the same. And that Dosan in the letters was Ji-pyong. But then suddenly, just because it wasn't Dosan, suddenly the letters don't matter. And so you're just telling me that nothing in this show matters unless it's here to propel, you know, the Dosan Dalmi agenda.
Yeah. I think another annoying thing about the whole letters thing is that this is what people are saying. Most of it are like Reddit or Twitter opinions. But people are saying like, okay, maybe the letters don't really mean that much. I mean, they provided comfort when they were going through a tough time. And I mean, and like it's they were young. And I mean, I kind of get all of that. I mean, that makes sense in like the real world. But narratively, it baffles me as to why the letters would be played up for like 9 episodes and then just drop like a ball for the 10th episode. And then every time you bring it up, the only purpose is to like Dalmi used it to break up with Dawson. Like, oh, you're not the Dawson from the letters. And so that's why we must break up. And so the only purpose of it really was just to, again, propel Dawson and Dalmi.
And yet, she doesn't bring it up with Ji Pyong.
Yeah.
She doesn't bring it up with, her grandmother, who she knows is involved in writing the letters, right? But only to Dawson, because it only matters. Only Nam Dawson's name matters.
Yeah.
Not what it was for her at the time.
Exactly.
Right? Not what was written there, how that gave her comfort. Like, just Nam Dawson. Just the name. Just the person. It's like, make it make sense, girl. Make it make sense, PHR.
So, yeah, the letters. And then, are you done with the letters? Or
I think I'm done with the letters.
Yeah,
I'm so
okay.
done.
Yeah. I think another thing that I hated about the writing is just how unrealistic like the business part of it all is. I mean, I think a lot of people are expecting this to be like the next Missing or something. And in a way it could have been, because like Suzy, Dalmi could have just been like a female Django, like no qualifications. And then, let's just say that we just accept the fact that she got into Sandbox or whatever. And like she works hard. But the thing is that she got way too lucky. The thing with Dalmi is that, they built her up to seem like this independent woman who has like skills, even if they're not necessarily like on her resume or whatever. And like she's supposed to be like this wildly independent person. But then when she got there, it was just like, so what do I do, Ji Pyong? What do I do, Dawson? I don't believe in myself. Oh no. But then magically, when she goes up there, it just all goes well. But yeah, so like the whole business part of it is really just unrealistic. Okay, yeah. So this is like a common theme that they've used throughout the entire series. The idea of like sailing off without a map and like how that gets you places. And so it's really like a battle between, sailing off without a map, taking risks, versus someone who's, more risk averse and like who's doing the calculation, is always cautious. The former represents like Dawson somehow, and then the latter represents Ji Pyong, because he's always the one who's like putting the brakes on like all the things that they want to do. So the thing is, what I hate the most about the show is that it's a false dichotomy.
Mm-hmm.
In real life there will be circumstances where one would be better than the other. But really the major differentiator between the two is the amount of privilege that you have. Ji Pyong, he's an orphan. He had to fend for himself for the longest time. Of course, it's not an option for him to sail off without a map. He will die. Right? And then for Dawson, he can do that perfectly. Why? Because he has his parents who invest in his business. He has his friends. He has Dalmi, who offers nothing really, but whatever.
Moral support. And his entire self-worth comes from her love.
From her love. Right?
Sure.
Right. So he can afford to do that. And like, I really like Ji Pyong's point about, you sailed off without a map and it was marvelous for you. But what happened is that other people got left behind and lost their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's just that you're privileged to have that.
Mm-mm.
So I just hated how the show...
survivor bias.
Yeah.
Right?
I hated how the show kind of like pitted those two thoughts and people against each other. And then in the end, of course, it's Dawson, and like, oh, he gets the girls because he gets the girl, and like sailing off without a map, that makes you become a trailblazer. And it's like, not all the time. You just got really, really lucky by, the gods of your universe.
Okay. Sometimes it's like, in some K-dramas, it's inspiring to see your leads succeed, right? Or to always, to get to what they want to do or where they want to be. But they have to earn it. They have to earn their success. for me, like, once again, my favorite show, Missing. Jangure started out as nothing. And every time he had a little victory, I was so happy for him because I saw how he got there. I saw how hard he worked for it. And I saw like the people who helped him achieve that success, what little success that may be. And then, his life still went to shit after. I mean, like, he still failed after. He failed, he succeeded, he failed, he succeeded. It's a cycle. That's how life is. But for startup, it seems like they never seem to fail. They never seem to falter. They always seem to make it through. They always seem to be, the better team. Like, the only time they kind of faltered was when they lost to NJ Company's tech in the hackathon.
And also the Acquihire.
On the Acquihire, yeah, that was their big failure. But then, once again, like, they still got one for the hackathon. They still got into the program. And two, in the Acquihire, they're rich. And Dosan, finally got the experience and the confidence and not even the confidence, just the money. Just the status to be on Ji Pyong's level. So it's like, I'm not inspired by their success. I'm annoyed by their success.
Right?
And like, as the leads, shouldn't I want to root for you? I may not want to be you, to do what you do, but I should want you to succeed. But I wanted them to fail. I wanted Dalmi to fail so bad from the very beginning. Well, not from the very beginning. From like, the hackathon.
Yeah.
But from then on, every time they wanted to do something, I wanted them to fail. I wanted to see, how will you handle failure, right? As people who, are just starting out. Because you're telling me, I can join a hackathon, I can make a startup company, and I will keep succeeding? You're telling me that's life? Great! I don't need to study anymore. I mean, Dalmi doesn't even have a college degree. That's fine, right? So I can also, Mom, I'm going to drop out and I'm going to make a business. I'm going to do whatever I want because, startup told me I will succeed as long as I sail off without a map. That's the message you're telling me and all the young children watching this show. Young children being teenagers, huh? I swear, every time I see a tweet saying, wow, startup is so inspiring. It tells you to be trailblazers, to be innovators.
Go, quit school.
Go, quit school.
Go,
Stop
do
going.
it now.
Yeah, stop studying. No
Follow
need to.
Dalmi.
Right? Whiting, you can do this. I mean, it's terrible. It's a terrible message. I'm sorry. Because, yeah, you're right. It's a false dichotomy. Like, if you want to survive, you have to be both. You have to be courageous, but you also have to be careful. Those are two things that go hand in hand. Because you can't just keep, like, the bad thing is when you only stick to one. Because if you're always courageous, you're just going to keep, trial and error and say, sometimes, it's fine because I tried. But then, at the loss of, being able to say, I tried and I lost and it's fine, comes from a place of privilege. Mm-hmm. Right? Because you have this, you can afford to lose. But others don't have that privilege.
Exactly.
Pyong never had that privilege to lose. He had to be careful because, whatever little money he got, he had to invest that as smartly as he could, just to survive. And he made it up to this level. That's why we root for him. Even if we didn't see his journey.
Yeah.
But we kind of saw the inklings of it in his flashbacks as a teen. Like, he was the one who was able to make Halmoni's money from 8 million won to 80 million won. That was all him. Right? So, we saw those qualities. We literally, that was a show don't tell moment. That was the
Dawson created Moongil, and you saw that too.
Oh my god, I want to die. I mean,
with his hands that he used to type on his laptop.
Do we talk about the hands? Is it time to talk about the hands?
We talk about the hands.
She brought up the hands, guys. We have to talk about the hands. All right. The hands. What? Why? What?
What even? I hated it. Okay. The first time they brought up the hands, it was kind of funny, right? In the bus, Dalmi asking him, Dawson asking Dalmi, what do you like about me? And then all she could say was like, oh, you have big hands. And it's like, that's pathetic. But it's kind of funny, right? And then
there was this big emotional moment where, Dawson was feeling so insecure about Ji-pyong because Ji-pyong was the one that, Dalmi really liked because he's the one in the letter. So he straight up asked Dalmi, what do you like about me? And then, Dalmi kept listing things, and then in, Dawson's inner monologue, it was like, that's not me, that's not me, that's not me. And then he keeps saying, what else? What else? What else? If I were a girl, if someone were hitting on me and asked me why you like me, and he kept asking, what else? What else? What else? I would get so scared. I'd just be like, I don't know what to say. What do you want me to say? Is there a right
I just
answer?
like you as you.
No, wait, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. But anyway, and then suddenly at the end, after a pregnant pause, I like your hands. And then said, that's me. It's finally me.
Right.
I mean, and then it's not over. The hands aren't over. Or like, that scene isn't over because, time skip later, episode 15, Dawson asks, why do you like me? And then Dalmi says, what does she say?
I don't need to have a reason. I just like you because you're you. And then they kiss.
Ooh. It's like...
And the Ji-pyong line also. In the same episode, Ji-pyong and Dawson have a conversation where, Dawson basically gets the girl ready. And then Ji-pyong says, with your hand, you beat all of our memories. And I just wanted to slap him in the face. Your hands! Like, he types! Okay? He types! I can type too! Okay?
Who loves me for my hands?
Who loves me for my hands? My boss should love me for my hands when I make these beautiful Python scripts and Excel worksheets. My goodness.
It's like, I was, last night at around timestamp 3 a.m. probably while we were still talking about this stupid show. Like, you asked me, so what is the metaphor of the hands? What does it mean? All right. And so I was thinking, okay, so for me, all this time, what the hands meant was, Dawson from the letters, that person was so intangible to Dalmi. All these years, like Dawson in the letters just lived in her head. But now, the Dawson here, like, when you think of your hands, you think of the sense of touch, right? Of being able to feel tangible things. And so being able to hold Dawson's hand is like, Dawson is real now. He's tangible. He's in my life for real. And then we thought, is that really what it means in this show? Or am I reaching? Am I reaching for PHR? Am I the one making meaning for her because her writing is so atrocious? The symbolism has lost. It's like, okay, Dalmi, I'm PHR. Okay, Dalmi, Susie, okay, so our script for today is you say, I like you because it's you. That's it. We're like, so,
don't worry,
so what
he'll
about,
kiss you right after.
Yeah,
You
don't
don't
worry.
have to
You don't
talk
have to.
that
You have to
much.
think about what to say anymore. Just say that, and then the moment. That's the moment. That's the big emotional, dramatic, romantic moment. And as viewers, as I saw that on Twitter, because obviously I did not watch it because I love myself enough not to watch this show anymore. I just thought, this is it. Am I supposed to like this? Am I supposed to feel kilig or like feel happy to see this moment? Because I just feel like as Dawson, who is looking for perhaps his love language is words of affirmation. Perhaps he wants to be affirmed that there is something. It's not the stuff that Dalmi listed down before that she loves about Dawson now. It's really everything about him. So maybe he was looking for words of affirmation. And instead she said, I just like you because it's you. And then now as a viewer, I'm asking, so what do you like about him? You never listed it down. And therefore, because you never gave us any reasons, I will continue to make fun of you for liking Dawson for his hands.
Okay, fine. Taking PHR's side for a bit, I can sort of see, like, narrative-wise, why that kind of progression was what she went for. Coming from listing reasons that aren't really you as the reasons she liked you. And then in the end, finally, not having any reason just because it's you. Right? It's supposed to be, like, poetic and beautiful. I think that's what she was going for. But, like, a lot of things in the show, it's the journey of how we got from point A to point B that just completely ruins point B's supposed connection with point A. Yeah. The hands. I mean, I just laugh. It's a joke now.
It's a joke. Congratulations, because you didn't give us any reasons. It's like there are so many better ways to have done that scene while still listing reasons. She could have recited the lyrics to One Direction's Little Things. Their hand fits in mine like it's made just for me. But
And
bear
then
this in mind. It was meant to be. And I'm joining
Right?
up the dots. The freckles on your cheek. I forgot the lyrics. But anyway, like, she could have literally said, even using the hands again, I like your hands because they make code happen. Like, they typed the code that helped my grandmother see. Right? It made Noongil. I like how funny you are with your friends. I like how you don't believe in superstition because you believe in the living in the moment and
I like
not
how you punch people with your hands. It's what a strong man.
But really none of that really matters because I just like you for you, everything about you. You could have listed down any reasons and then still ended it with that tagline. And it's fine. I would have accepted that. I would have stopped making fun of you. But it's your fault, so I'm gonna keep making fun of you. That's on you. That's a you problem.
Right. Yeah. That was the writing.
I guess we have to...
No. We have not yet talked about one of the most important key parts of the writing. The Han Ji-pyong murder.
It's
The
the character murder.
Alright. I'll talk about the subversion of tropes.
Go.
Okay. So, the common theory is that PHR wanted to, like, subvert the usual tropes, She's known for, as they said, I didn't watch her works. She's known for pushing the whole, like, childhood connection, then meeting up in life, and, yeah. And then, the thing is, if you look at Ji Pyong's character, given that he was the focus of the pilot, and they developed his backstory so well, it's like he has, the typical male lead characteristics. Like he's strong, successful, he's the one you root for. I think that's the most important thing. And then you have Dosan, who's like, this awkward kind of guy. And he's a bit more timid, supposedly. So it's like, your main lead has like the second lead characteristics. Yeah, and then, but since, Dosan and Dalmir are the main couple, then they're supposed to end up together. So, it was sort of, like, the premise is like, how are you gonna, subvert the trope and make it work? And then she just
did not make it work.
She did not make it work.
She subverted the trope and messed it up.
Yeah. The most annoying thing about it really is like how Han Ji Pyong just became like this pathetic loser who's been pining over this girl who didn't show an interest in him for the last 3 years. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, do you remember that I like you? What can you give me a response now? It's like, why? Why did you make him like this? And then there were a few moments wherein he had to act like he was jealous or like,
as a man, I don't want you to work together, right?
Yeah, I don't want you,
but as an investor, it's a good idea. Like, yeah,
like petty, kind of crap. And it was just like a complete disservice, really, to this person who's mature and who like knows his limits. I mean, he's not that dense to not know that the girl doesn't like him back. But then why do you have to make it seem like he was begging to be liked by her?
Like he was just sticking around simping after her for 3 years.
It was just so pathetic. And I hate all the comparisons with Jungwon and Reply 1988.
Oh my God.
Because like, people, I think, like to salvage, his character, I think what they were going for was like, because he hesitated too much and he didn't take enough chances. Like in 3 years, he only stepped up when Dosan came back. But actually, if you think about, and like, that's very similar to Jungwon with Doksun. But then, it's so different. Because it's not like he didn't confess. He did. He confessed twice.
Yes.
Right? And so it wasn't really about him hesitating. It was just about the girl not liking him back, and that's fine. But no, they made it seem like he was just this pathetic loser.
It's like, okay, more things I hated about the Jungwon comparison is that, first of all, the Jungwon take Doksun love triangle. Both of the male leads were decent options for Doksun. Like, from the very beginning, I was team take because, like, as a romantic partner, I understood it. Like, it made sense that, Doksun would like him. But, as individual characters, they were both decent people and had good storylines throughout the show. And also, Jungwon, like, the scene where he realized that, he didn't get Doksun or Doksun fell for take fully because he kept hesitating. Like, that realization felt organic.
Yeah.
But in this last episode, it's like, what did Ji-pyong say? I'm not the Dosan, like Dosan from there is his fictional character. Or, like, I hesitate, I never looked for you for 15 years, but Dosan read the letters and later that day he already found you. Something like that. So, he was essentially blaming himself and his own hesitation. And it's like, dude, first of all, you were an orphan. Okay, you had no one. You had nothing. You were busy, trying to survive, trying to make yourself grow and to sustain yourself. And, girly was, like, she was going through the toughest year of her life. And, she was still a kid who, had to sustain herself and her grandmother, essentially, right? I mean, it's not obvious because it seems like she did not go through any hardships in her life. Like, it seems like she's still so naive and so untouched by the cruelties of this world. But okay, let's just believe that's what she did in her spare time for the past 15 years. But anyway, the point is, like, the circumstances are totally different, right? And you were kids. Right. And yeah, once again, like, Jungwon being, hesitant and not, like, confessing or revealing his feelings is also, like, genuine youth. Like, they were literally teenagers. You are people in your mid to late 20s now. And you're telling me you're, like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, the youth comparisons is so different. And I hate, once again, youth is, like, the word that gets me riled up. Because I just, like, I am a 20-year-old and I feel like I am a lot more mature than you guys. That's an insult to you. You guys seem to have not grown at all from your past selves, but you seem to be okay with it.
I mean, basically that the whole characterization of Ji-pyong felt like a prop again, just to get total running or something. I just hated that they did that, and so I would like to take this opportunity to transition into
the only positive thing about the show.
The only positive thing in the show, Kim Son-ho and his acting. I mean, I could spend the whole time talking about Kim Son-ho, but I will not do that. Instead, okay. Here's my theory about the character, and, like, a recent interview of Kim Son-ho kind of supports this. So I feel like he was fleshed out in the first episode, but I think they were kind of going for, like, this like the tsundere type, like, with other people, he's harsh and he's cold, but, when he's alone, he's lonely and he just wants affection and all that. And it fits perfectly with his background, like an orphan, successful guy with no friends. But the way Kim Son-ho portrayed him, like, with the nuance, that, he's actually kind of goofy. You just don't see it. And it's like, whenever he does speak harshly, you can feel the care, right? And, like, the wanting to push you to be better. It's not being critical for the sake of being critical. It's really just to guide you on the right path, and, like, hopefully you can learn something from his experiences and his advice. And I think that's sort of what he brought to the character. And so, but the thing is, like, in the script, it's like all the criticisms of him are like, oh, because he speaks so harshly, he looks down on us. But then if you watch it, that's not actually how it feels as a viewer. And so, like, there's this big disconnect for me when they start, like, berating him and thinking that, like, he's a crap mentor or, like, he's mean, because he's not. Right?
I mean, a part of me also feels like, do I just have a bias because I'm a viewer who liked Ji Pyong, who likes Sonho. But then I think my opinion is not unpopular. It's actually really the vast majority who shares that opinion, that he's really not that harsh or that awful of a person, right? So
I've met worse in real life.
I might be worse sometimes as a person, and I don't even have the qualifications or the experience that he does. But yeah, my point is like, I sometimes I want to like call myself out and like be reflexive about my biases. But then I think, no, I really think this is really my opinion because it's what I'm seeing, not because of my internal biases anymore.
Yeah. And I mean, okay, I'll touch on later about his parts with like Harmony. Because like that's a whole nother like level. But I'm just talking about I guess like his character arc. So that was like the first half, and then like in the second half, as we said earlier, he became like this pathetic mess, whatever. But I think the way Sonho delivered it, it was still with like this nuance. It always feels like he's a sim that the owner like lost control, and he's like he does not know why he is doing this or saying these things, but he has to say it and do it anyway. So it was always like there was this nuance that it was reserved. I mean, I don't know how to say it. I'd hate to say that it's like he wasn't fully committed to what the character was trying to be, and so it felt like he tried to like subvert it in his own way, and I don't know if it really like there's only so much you can do when you're being
fighting
forced
back against your masters.
Right? Even my Sims can't, go full autonomy on me when I say that, no, you do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, the part, when this all ended, so I think the cast were asked to, like, what would you say to your character or something? And then with Ji Pyong, I really love when Kim Son-ho said, like, I hope you find happiness and, like, care for others and then speak harshly. Live as yourself. And so I really felt like
he's on our side.
He's on our side. And like he knew that he was not wrong.
Right?
Yeah. So yeah, that is my Kim Son-ho.
And like another thing about the interview, the Netflix interview that we watched is like he talked about they showed like several scenes of him like in a compilation, and then he talked about like the process of getting to those scenes. And he always talked about like I read the script and I studied like how would Ji Pyong feel? How would Ji Pyong really feel in this moment? How would he portray it? And it really his theater roots are really showing in how deeply he studied that script, because as a theater actor, you really only have one shot to be in that scene, right? Or to whatever you call that. Whatever, I forgot.
Shame on you,
musical theater
workshop
alumni. Anyway, my point is like, in that sequence, that scene, you only have one shot when you're on stage there. And so you really have to study your script and know your character and know your lines really well, because if you mess this up, there are no takes. There is no cutting in theater. You have to keep going. And so I think he kept that discipline with him as he was studying the script for Startup. And it really shows, because I feel like his portrayal of Ji Pyong is so much deeper than the portrayals of other actors in the show.
And maybe deeper than the intent of the author.
Yes, of the writer. Yes. It's like, I forgot which scene the one he was crying.
Okay, yeah.
With Harmony.
Okay,
talk about Harmony. Okay, he found out that Harmony was going blind, and then, he went up to her and then he said, I'm not a good boy. I hurt people with my words. I'm not a good boy.
Kim Son-ho was rebelling.
But the way he said that, and then he hugged Harmony, and then he cried while she couldn't see his face. And then, someone on Twitter posted a screenshot of that, and the screenshot of Nam Da-rum as his teenage self in a similar framing, same position, the pilot. And then we thought wow, I wonder if he really tried to copy Nam Da-rum's face or his expression there. And then it turns out he didn't mean to copy it, but he watched teenage Ji Pyong. He watched teenage Ji Pyong's expression and then just tried to portray that as adult Ji Pyong. But he realized Ji Pyong is still a lonely person who only has Harmony. And so his pain, his tears, his expression would still be similar to that. And it just came out that way. Look at this man studying not just his script, but also the show. Because he wants to, he's the only one with continuity in the show. He's the only one who's consistent in this show from the pilot.
As much as he could. We do not blame him for the second half.
He's just fighting back against his masters. But, you can only do so much. And I just love that about him. Like,
I think, similar to that, in the same interview, he also talked about, like, how he confessed that he liked Dalmi. And, like, given that it was after the reveal, and, like, how Dalmi must be feeling confused. So, his approach to it was, like, just say it nonchalantly and, like, with no expectations. Because that's, your purpose is to provide her comfort. Mm-hmm. And I just like that, wow, he had that kind of, like, thinking.
It's like, I don't think that came from the script.
Yeah.
I think, he could have played that's like super serious, like, I've liked you, whatever his lines were. But, he played it off as nonchalant because it's for Dalmi. His confession is not really for himself. Just to, to get his feelings out, but to show Dalmi all her options, even though he's not an option to her. Woohoo! Yeah. And, okay, Harmony. Oh my, okay. I just remember we were talking about, like, the acting, okay? Our criticisms and comments on the acting of everyone in the show. And then we thought, like, Kim Sono is just he's really, really good, but we couldn't really put it into words yet until we saw episode 12. After Dosan, punched Ji Pyong in the face
for telling the truth that he asked for.
Right? They asked for what happened, and he said, you got aquaheard, you messed up. And then he went out, and then Dosan was like, oh, let's punch. And then, it was just the dumbest scene. And then after they were punching each other and they were tired, Dosan just said, Halmoni's going blind. Please help us. Okay. I said that really funny. But, like, okay, I swear, I could replay that scene over again and just watch, like, the tiny details of Kim Sono's face, like, morphing as the realization dawns on him. Like, his forehead, like, smooths out, his eyes start, like, growing wider, his jaw twitches, his lips tremble, his nose flares or whatever. It's like, piece by piece, you're starting to see him realize, like, oh my God, the one person who has given me true comfort, who has cared for me, she's old, she's losing her sight, and I can't do anything about it. I didn't even know all these months. I don't know how bad it's gone. But anyway, and, like, just see, like, in that moment, we had to pause and he had to say, okay, so everything I said about Sonho being the best actor in this show is completely 100% factual. Facts only. But he has just proved, like, stop proving us right, Sonho. Now we can't stop talking about it because we know we're right. And you had to just do two crying scenes in that episode. And you were able to deliver them so deeply, but also both differently.
Yes.
Right? And then the scene after that with Halmoni is, like, the big cry where he didn't even mean to, look like Namdarum, but it was just so perfectly framed. And, the only thing that kept me in this show was his story with Halmoni. Right? Like, everything else was just trash, but, like, the heartwarming feelings all came from, the actual central relationship in this show, which is Halmoni and Ji Pyong.
But yeah, Kim Son-ho's acting is just, like, tiers above everyone else. Do we talk about the others now?
I think it's fair. We would like to place a disclaimer that negative opinions are not hate. They are not bashing. We're really just trying to tell you what we saw. Because we think, like, the show you're watching is composed of the director, the writer, the editing and all, and the actors. They are part of the product that they are putting out there. And so, any product that you put out there, it's fair game, baby. All criticism, comments, or complaints, or praise, it's all fair game. So, we're all allowed to have opinions, negative or positive. As long as I'm not going to their Instagrams and telling them, stop acting, you suck. That's terrible. You're a terrible person if you do that. But what I'm saying is, we have opinions. You have opinions. We should all have opinions and be critical about the media we are consuming because our opinions, kind of shape the trends of the industry. Okay?
Alright.
So,
we talk about Suzy first because she's easier for me. Alright. Was never a fan of Susie's acting. I mean, I first saw her in Vagabond and I was like, I mean, it's not a heavy acting show from what I remember. So I'm just like, I was not impressed. But like, I didn't have to be. It's fine. And then Startup happened. And the thing is, this is my problem with everyone except Harmony. Whenever they're in a scene with Kim Son Ho, he just outacts everyone. Okay, I as someone said, Susie's great at acting with like, the quirky and like the everyday life kind of thing. But when it comes to like intense emotions, whether it's crying or getting angry, it's just there's just a vacant look most of the time. I mean, when she cries, it's like I mean right, you did not see me. But it just feels all the same. And then we have this favorite joke, like when she was breaking up with Dawson, and she was like, yeah, it's just like, it literally sounds like, hey, she yelled.
It's like, it could have been like, hey, taxi! It could have been in any other situation. It didn't feel like this is the painful breakup that will separate them for years.
Right? It just looks so empty. And here's the thing, like, a lot of people, so I read a lot of, like, Ji-pyong and Dalmi theories to, support my mental health. But, so a lot of it, not a lot of it, some of it, like, say that, the thing with Dalmi is that she's a bit opaque. Like, you don't really know what she's thinking. So, we still have hope, Jidal. And then, but actually, no. It's just Susie not knowing to like have some nuance aside from a blank face. Like when it's a scene that calls for her to be like flustered, no opinion or whatever. I mean, anything that doesn't ask for like super positive emotions or like quirky stuff, it looks the same. Like, so she's not really opaque. It's just that she's not as emotive. And like, okay, that's the difference between like her and say Songhwa in Hospital Playlist, right? Like, with Songhwa, it's like, you don't really know what she's thinking about. I mean, I say this about Ik-jun. You don't really know what she feels about Ik-jun, right? That's the mystery for season 2. But, like, that's not on John Mido's acting skills. That's really just
the writing.
That's
really the story.
That is the story, right? I mean, I don't think... or like, okay, sorry, another example of restraint, but, a man. Lee Sun-kyun in My Mister. Like,
it's an unfair comparison, but we will make the comparison, just so you know.
I mean, if we're talking about, the character really has to be opaque, then that is like your perfect example. This one, that's not the case. That's just the actress. I mean, she's not like completely bad. I didn't see her in Dream High or anything, but I don't think she's super bad. But it's just that it really shows when you're in a scene with like a really, really great actor. Right, so that is my Susie opinion. Go.
Okay, another criticism I have I don't know if this is for Susie or for PHR, the writer. But, okay, after we watched Startup, like the first few episodes, we thought, oh, maybe we should try While You Were Sleeping. Because you watched it first, but I haven't watched it. So you watched it with me. I thought, great pilot. But then when I first saw Susie, it's like, is this Dalmi again? It's the same character. It's the same portrayal. Right? And so I don't know if that's a her problem or a Park Ye-ryun problem. But yeah, the point is, it's like, I'm sure these characters are not exactly the same. I'm sure there's some nuance to it, right? Or there are a lot of differences to their background. But it seems like your portrayal is the same. Like, even, a quirky, happy, optimistic girl, there are different ways to do that. It's not the same character in every single K-drama, right? So I just thought, like, okay, when I saw her in While You Were Sleeping, I was very unimpressed because I thought, oh, so While You Were Sleeping was 2018? 17? 17, right? So in 3 years, you kind of just portrayed the same role. And the thing is...
3 years later.
Well. Okay, and like I saw this tweet saying like, oh, Startup wasted the potential of Susie and Nam Joo-hyuk. And I thought... You know what? Yeah, for Susie, yes, because they gave her the same role. They didn't even challenge her. They didn't I mean, everyone says like she's improved as an actress, and like sure, I haven't watched her entire filmography, so I can't judge her improvement. But based on what I'm seeing, it's like, yeah, I mean, I saw two shows, and she was essentially the same. She did not disappear into her character. She was just Susie saying different lines in a different setting, in a different role. But it was just her. So I think that's something I'm looking for in good actors. Like range, right? And nuance. And she's not terrible, but she's really not there yet.
Yeah.
So we mentioned Nam Joo-hyuk. We have to talk about it.
Okay.
Go.
Okay, fine. So, the thing with Nam Joo-hyuk is that it's kind of tricky to criticize him. Because Dosan is like the worst character.
Like,
I mean,
it's not even his fault sometimes. Like, it's really just terrible writing.
Right?
I feel bad for the guy that got sacked with this role.
Right? And it's like, there's... Okay, sorry. So if you're a good actor, you should be able to salvage a bad character, like in the way that Son Ho kind of tried to do with Ji Pyong. But then maybe, you know, there's like a level of bad character writing where it's like unsalvageable no matter how hard you try. So that's why it's kind of tricky for me to criticize him. But then again, as I said earlier, the thing is his emotional scenes with Son Ho, they just it just shows. Like the punching scene that Francine mentioned earlier. The thing with that is like you sort of see how Son Ho cries, but in the same scene, Dosan is actually also kind of crying because he just cries a lot. But then you can sort of, and the thing is with that episode, like he would cry for like all the scenes, and like I think it goes for like 20 minutes. You know that he's crying. And they all look the same. They all look the same when, you know, Dalmi broke up with him, or
when he revealed about Halmoni's blindness,
when he was walking alone in the rain, they were all the same. And so it's like he can emote. I mean, I think he's better than Susie sometimes.
I don't know opinion. It's hard. It's hard to compare them.
I will just not make that comparison. Yeah, scratch that. I don't really know who's better or if anyone is better. But, I mean, like, props to him. Okay, he can cry. But, you know.
Just lacks nuance.
Nuance.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, a great actress that we have to mention for crying with nuance is So Yoon Jin in Another Miss O. Right? Okay, so she cries like basically every episode. Really?
Like we know it's the end of the episode when she cries.
No, sometimes it's in the middle. Sometimes she cries twice. Okay? But the thing is, like, the way she cries when she's walking alone, it's like, it just randomly starts. Okay, I remember the scene. She was walking in a crowded street, and then, like, she just had the memories of her, you know, her past, what she went through, and then, like, she just starts, she blinks, and then, like, the tears fall, and then, like, she just covers her face and starts wiping it, because it's like, oh my god, I'm in a public place, but I can't stop crying. And that's different from when she was having, like, a heart-to-heart moment with Eric Moon, and, like, you know, they were sitting side by side with a bit of distance between them, and, like, she was talking about, once again, her difficult past, her experience, and, like, she's laughing a little bit because she's crying, but she still keeps talking about what happened to her, like, laugh crying, but the tears are still falling. And that's different from, you know, the time I think she fully broke down at some point, like sobbing, kind of crying.
Yeah.
It's just, haven't finished the show, haven't finished Another Miss O yet, but really, for So Yoon Jin, she deserves the Baeksang Best Actress, just with what little I've seen from her in that role. And the point is, like, people cry for many different reasons. I cried in like 13 out of 20 episodes in Reply 1988, and they were for very different reasons. I cry listening to songs. And, like, right, the reasons you cry are very different. And so, therefore, like, the way you cry should be different. Like, sometimes you're just tearing up and then they spill. Sometimes you're sobbing. Sometimes you're, you know, what's her name? Goblin?
Kim Go-eun.
Kim Go-eun in the rooftop losing, you know, Gong Yoo. And she's just, like, it's heart-wrenching. It's heart-wrenching, like, sobs, shrieks of pain, almost. Right? Kim Go-eun, another great actress. But anyway, my point is, like, that's nuance, you know? I'm not asking for much. But maybe that is too much at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they can pull off like the cutesy stuff. I mean, right, the chemistry is also another thing. But fine, I will not judge the chemistry because I fast forwarded a lot of that stuff, so I will not comment on that. But I mean, I think they do well with they do well when it's supposed to be a one-dimensional scene, right?
The funny stuff.
Like the funny stuff, or like, no, you have to cry.
Okay,
Cry. They know how to do that well. That's fine. But yeah, like the layers and the nuance, it just isn't there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just feel bad for them because they're acting alongside Kim Son-ho.
Yeah.
Who, star power-wise at the start of the show was a nobody, right? But, that's why he blew up. Because he's good. Like, he didn't just blow up because of, the second lead syndrome or whatever. It's like, there are 1,000 second leads out there, but not a lot of them blew up the way he blew up. Right? You can't fake virality.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the fact that we were seeing him on our Facebook pages.
Right?
That tells you, like, his algorithm here in the Philippines, it's crazy. Everyone is talking about him. A lot of, like, muggles who don't even watch K-drama started watching K-drama in startup. And it's like, oh, this is a terrible place to start.
Yeah,
you should not have started here. It gets better, guys. There are a lot of great ones out there.
Yes. But yeah, there's talent. Yeah, so we're really just looking forward to his next project. Fortunately, he's doing a play. So it's like, stay away from the spotlight a bit, let it die down.
Yes.
Because, people are gonna judge you for, like, your next project. So,
yes.
It should just be on hospital playlist. Shin PD,
make it happen.
Please
we can write it for
please.
you.
And don't put him in a love triangle with Songwa and Nick Jun. Please, no.
This is a second love triangle with Jo Jung Suk. Please don't make it happen.
Please. Right?
Yeah,
I mean, if it's Cho Chung Woo, I would approve it. Anyway, alright, we digress. Acting, I think, do we touch on, what else should we touch on? Oh no, it's a minor thing. I mean, okay, essentially a lot of people are arguing that, they're the main leads. Like, why are you so stupid for hyping up Ji Pyong and thinking that he'd get the girl? And I mean, I just want to say, like, you know what? If she really wanted to subvert the trope, that would have been the ultimate subversion. Have the second lead get the girl. But it's fine. Anyway, so the thing is, like, it was really supposed to end this way because, at the end of the day, the two leads are the ones who bring in the endorsements, the product placements, and all that.
They're the top billed actors.
They're the top billed actors. So, of course, it's gonna happen that way. I mean, our main complaint is really just
how it got there.
How it all happened and how unrealistic it is. And, like, the message.
The message. Okay. Like, this is my worst fear about this show. Right? I mentioned this. Like, I don't want people to look up to this. I don't want people to think, wow, I'm going to make a startup company because I want to be like them in startup. Like, I'm going to be like Dosan. I'm going to, sail off without a map.
Ooh,
I'm going to succeed and all. And it's just, okay, here's the thing. You could say like, oh, it's up to the viewer what they want to side with, what ideology or what morals they want to have, if they want to sail off without a map or if they want to be, they want to be calculative. Is that the term?
Cautious?
To be cautious, right? But the thing is, even if you're saying that, oh, it's up to the viewers, the one who succeeded, quote unquote, is Dosan. He's the one who got the girl. They're the ones with a successful company, whatever. So you're telling me the winner is the one who sails off without a map. And you're not just applying that to love, you're applying that to business. And I think it's just so dangerous because not everyone has a safety net or a sandbox.
Right.
Wait, another analogy I hated in this show.
Ah, yeah.
Right. So, Dalmi is the girl on the swing and Ji Pyong is the sandbox who will catch her when she falls. But Dosan is the one pushing the swing forward. So, you're telling me Dalmi has no agency as a character? She's just being caught or she's just being pushed?
Her feet on the ground so that the swing will move.
Right?
Does she have no agency at all?
Right? And it's the fact that, at the start of the show, she was shown as this spunky, independent woman, and then suddenly she will chase after a man in a mountain just to get him to work with her.
And not fall while sleeping.
Yes, because, for some reason, you can hold yourself up without any physical control. But, like, the point is, her character was also butchered for the Dodal agenda.
Yes.
Right? You know?
Everyone was butchered for the Dodal agenda.
Exactly. And so, if everyone had to be butchered, if no one had a good, like, character development by the end of the show, you're still telling me this is a great, well-written, inspiring story about startups. You're really telling me that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just not. I mean, if you really want to, there are so many other inspiring K-dramas out there. Like, watch me singing. Watch. Is that inspiring?
It's realistic.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's inspiring to me.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, there's just so many. This is not it. I mean, it's really just a love story, a romantic drama pretending to be about business and stuff. I mean, I just hated how they how they put on all like the tech stuff. As if, my God, self-driving cars? Really? This is our big business idea? Really? Do you think it's time for us to talk about how we would
The rewrite?
The rewrite.
Okay. These are the rules. We have to keep the pilot.
Right.
We have to keep the time skip. And we have to keep Dodal endgame.
Okay.
No, just to appease the people.
Fine. Yeah.
Because, you know, if
we're
you wanna...
not bitter about the ship.
Yeah.
It's like yeah,
I'm sorry,
go.
okay. I have to mention that. Like, every time, I bet if I'm gonna say I didn't like startup, everyone's gonna say, oh, are you a G-dal? Oh, you don't like it because your ship didn't end up together. It's like, no. I'm not even, like, I wasn't even a G-dal shipper because I'm a realistic person who knows the top bills will end up together. Okay, here's the thing. In all K-dramas, the main leads either end up together or don't end up together. They don't end up with other people in the cast that aren't, like, random cameos from out of nowhere. Like, they just don't end up with others. There. And so my point is, like, I knew going in there was no chance for G-dal, but, you know, the 1%ers held on to their 1%, and I am very sorry for your...
my hand.
I'm very sorry for your loss of time and the pain that you had to go through, but I knew there was no chance.
Yeah. Me, even if I'm a Jadal shipper, woo! I mean, it was mostly because I was really hoping that she would pull off a twist. Like, Kim Son-ho kept hyping that up. Like, no, there's a twist in episode 16. What? Are you kidding me? Anyway. Yeah. So I was and like, if she was brave enough to subvert the tropes in the beginning, why can't you subvert the trope in the end? But yeah. So it's not really about the ship for me. Okay, so if we're going to rewrite it, honestly, again, for the I haven't really thought too much about like the middle part. But I keep saying this. I really wanted, like the cameo at the end. I wanted an Ayu cameo as the love interest for GPO. It would be Ayu as herself. Or Honey Lee. Because Honey Lee, Miss Korea, CEO material.
Right. And we were calling Han Ji-pyeon, we were calling Kim Son-ho a geezer, an old man, because he's 35.
Let her end up with like an Ajuma, if that's what you want.
If that's what you think of him, he's an Ajushi now.
Yeah.
Okay,
let's get an Ajuma.
So our Ajuma is Honey.
Yeah.
What can you say about that?
What can you say?
But anyway, our major rewrites would really just be the characters and their growths. Like, okay, Dalmi. What would we do about Dalmi?
I would make her have a college degree.
Yes.
I mean, timeline-wise, I don't understand where. I mean, I don't understand, like, I get why she didn't go to college because of, like, maybe their financial situation and all that. But, like, timeline-wise, I don't know what she did with her time. And so even if that didn't happen prior to Sandbox, then maybe she could have done it in, like, the 3 years of the time skip. Rather than just, like, telling Injay, I want to be a CEO.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And, like, I think it's just so unnecessary. Like, her tragic backstory is that she wasn't able to, pursue her education. That's why she only stayed at the temp job. And it's like, you're not the Jangure that you think you are. Like, that's why I kept, like, getting annoyed at her because, she had a similar background to Jangure, but she was not Jangure. And Jangure's template, but that no one else followed and no one else could follow because he was just that good. But my point is, like, okay, let her story be, she went to college to get a business degree, but, like, she still ended up joining a company and just being, like, another office worker.
Mm.
And so, maybe she has like struggles with her bosses as well, similar to her dad. And so like she keeps remembering how she saw her dad being, abused or beaten by his bosses. And so she's thinking like, am I going to end up like him? But then like, if I follow what he did and quit my job, like what's going to happen to me? I never even got to see my father succeed because, he died out of nowhere or something like that. Even if he tried to pursue his startup dreams and all of that. And so that's still a struggle. That's still legitimate. Like, I'm in the workforce and I know I don't want to be here, and I don't also want to end up like my father. Like, I mean, like, I don't want to do what my father did and stay there for a long time just out of obligation for money or something. So that's a great motivation to quit your job, I guess, and pursue a startup. And like, I want to continue my father's dreams because his life was taken so suddenly, right? And so, she'd still meet NJ and she'd still lie and say like, oh, I achieved something in my life all these years. But that's a lie because she's only been an office worker for so long. And so that's why she needs to find the real Dosan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the thing with that is that it doesn't take anything away from her, honestly. It just makes it look realistic, that the fact that, she'll be a CEO. And, I mean, she can still be the person who asks, like, a million questions to Ji Pyong. It's different when you're, a regular employee versus a CEO. That's perfectly fine.
But, so, like, just becoming a CEO, it's not just, I mean, really? Becoming a CEO, all I have to do is identify trends. Right? That's it. But, like, at least if you were in the workforce, you'd get some sort of idea. Not everything, but some sort of idea.
I mean, and that's sort of why you can't hate on NJ for, like, despite, having the privilege, and that's why she's a CEO, because she actually does have the qualifications for it.
Like, it was handed to her, but she didn't just, like, sit in her office and not do anything.
Yeah.
She helped that business grow. Exactly. So she earned her CEO. I mean, she was worthy of being a CEO when she still had that position. And so it made sense that she was chosen to be one of the 50 CEOs in that hackathon. Yeah. But Dalmi just got there, like, what the actual story is like. Dalmi just got there out of pure luck.
Yeah.
Right? Or just, her being a Mary Sue.
And people are gonna be like, oh, so now you say that we need to be educated to be a CEO and to achieve their dreams and all that. Well, in the real world, sweetie, yes. If you're not, and then you still manage to be a CEO, good for you, but you're the lucky one.
Yes, that's survivor bias.
You're the exception rather than the rule.
That's survivor bias. And it's really, I don't know, like, are the stories of people working in offices not compelling to you? Like, those are the everyday people that you're trying to inspire with this story.
Right?
And you're saying, like, no, you're just gonna stay stuck down there in the bottom floor. You'll never reach the highest point of the elevator. Oh, the stupid elevator metaphor from the second episode.
I know.
Anyway, so that's the Dalmiri, right?
I mean, honestly, I felt insulted when I saw that. I'm just like, gosh, are you that superficial?
Right?
To care? Anyway.
Anyway. And so, okay, that's our Dalmiri, right? And I think, like...
And generally, like, her second half. Yeah, just her having more agency.
Yes. Like, why... the way people talk about her is that her only decision in life is to choose between Dosan and GP.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you really just see her as a trophy to be won. Like, I'm talking to the viewers, okay, the people on Twitter and stuff. But it's like, girls should have more agency. This is not even about her dreams anymore or her goals. It's the way people are talking about it. It's as if, her life is just to choose between those two. But I digress. Dosan rewrite?
Oh. Everything. I mean, the soft, awkward, cute boy, it was okay. I mean, I don't know why they had to resort to, like, making him this, like, violent, whatever person. He could have just been, like, insecure. I mean, he could have been insecure and then, like, slowly gain confidence from, having success, having a taste of success. And then, not even, like, the big time skip, just the fact that they won, like, the competition and getting into Sandbox. And then, I think they kind of wanted to do, like, a bromancy thing with Ji Pyong. So, I mean, that could have worked if he didn't, like, start punching him out of nowhere. So, it's really just that. And I really wish that they delved more into his imposter syndrome and not not use that the imposter syndrome as an excuse for him for his problematic behavior. I mean, that's just how it felt. I'm a bit annoyed whenever I see like these people saying like, oh, I empathize, I relate a lot with Dosan's internal struggles. And like, I agree, because honestly, a lot of us, we're not orphans, or, we should relate more to Dosan's struggles, but I don't relate to his actions. So that's sort of where the line gets blurry for me. Like, I don't know about these people, how you can, that just because you understand and relate to his intentions, you accept his actions as if they're right.
It's like if you're seeing yourself on TV and you see yourself, oh, I relate to him, and then he does something like that, and you still like side with him. It's like, so you want to be like
so
that.
If you do that, it's okay.
Right? Yes. But like if it were any other person, any other like character, different personality that you can't relate with, and they do something like punch someone in the face, you would call them out on it. But if it's Dosan, it's like, oh, I understand him because he's like me. Mm-hmm. It's like, it should be more reflexive. You should start looking at yourself deep inside if you would tolerate this own behavior from yourself. Right?
Right.
So like his relatability, yeah, he's more relatable. I also relate to him. You relate to him.
Mm-hmm.
We both relate to him. We're smart people who, sometimes don't fully believe in ourselves. That's normal. But I just don't condone his actions, and I don't want people to condone his actions or to defend him just because he's more relatable.
Exactly.
Like, growth is not linear, blah, blah, blah. We're all flawed people, but like, we shouldn't be condoning this behavior in general. Right. Even fiction. I mean, like, fictionally, I guess. But that's a me thing. I don't want to. I don't want to condone his behavior. There.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, yeah, like, a lot of it was just about, a lot of it was excused by the imposter syndrome, the immaturity,
youth.
My gosh, all those things. I mean, it's just, I feel like, and then, in the end, with the time skip, it's just like, you just have to accept that he's changed. And it's like, but he went, I mean, okay, if you want me to root for him, show me how he changed, right? Because he left Korea, like, a completely, what do you call this? Like, as a complete mess of a character. And then he just comes back and then he's okay. I'm like,
he's a mess, but he's rich now.
Yeah, he's a mess, but he's rich now. I mean, he's okay, quote unquote. According to the show, I should just accept that he's okay. But if I want to root for him, show me how. Show me how he became that way.
So anyway, if we rewrote it, like, yeah, we keep the imposter syndrome, the insecurity,
Mm-hmm.
The lack of achievements, despite like his supposed genius. But like, maybe, teetering that line until like episode 6 or 7, and then like, just not dragging it out and then using it as an excuse for all of his actions. Actually, he would not act like this. He would not be punching people or throwing, nameplates at others. I mean, there's just so much that would not have happened in this show if they wrote Dosan as like a decent human being.
Right. I mean, if they were just gonna drop the letters in the end, they could have just used like that time to flesh him out more. So yeah. Okay, and then this is just like a small quirk for me. I really don't like the whole they make him like this super geeky person, like everything has to be logical and whatever. I mean, I don't know. I think it was supposed to be funny. I did not find it funny.
Yes. It was not funny. Sorry.
It was not funny. I didn't like it. I mean, I think there are better ways to make him a funny guy, even if he's awkward like that. That's me. Anyway. Then rewrite. Injay! I would give Injay so much screen time. My God, Chul-san and Yo-san and Saha got more screen time than Kang Hana.
She's the fourth bill in the show, guys.
Bill. How?
If we're following Kdrama economics logic, she should have had more screen time than all of them.
Right? And the thing is, like, okay, with Kang Hana, I just feel bad because, like, the only times I see her is, like, she's always the antagonist, Scarlet Heart, and then this one. And I just feel like she could do so much more.
Right? And it's like, her story is actually really compelling. I was so interested in, like, I'm going to break away from this privilege and become my own person. And she deserved, like, all of her, I guess, her achievements or like the respect that she got from her team, because she really is a competent CEO who had a vision. She didn't just depend on like, okay guys, okay my tech developers, what can you guys do? And then let's just build an idea on that. It's like she knew their capabilities and was able to actually lead them instead of like, okay guys, what holes do you need me to fill? Because I am nothing. I am putty. So just fill me wherever you need, because I have no actual skills or anything to contribute to this team of my own specialty. And like in Jay's story, it was kind of annoying how they treated her as like an antagonist for most of the show until like,
Dalmi needed her.
Oh, Dalmi's interview before the time skip. Oh my god. It's like, so, okay, children, those who look up to Dalmi, you go inside the HR job interview and you act exactly like that. You tell me how many job offers you're gonna get.
You're not even gonna get an interview.
You're gonna get like maybe a 20-minute...
No, we're gonna ask security to escort you out. Like, who are you? Why do you act this way?
And it's like, you're only doing that because she's your sister. And the thing is, in Jay, even if she's been painted as an antagonist all this time, it's like she just accepted. She allowed Dalmi to speak. She gave Dalmi a chance. And therefore, post-time skip, that's how Dalmi got, Chongmyong. In Jay is still a major shareholder in the CEO, in the company that she gave Dalmi, essentially. Once again, Dalmi is handed everything on a silver platter. And she doesn't have to actually work for anything.
True.
But
it's
anyway,
enough to say that she works hard.
Yes,
you do not get
that
to
is
see
it. But anyway, yeah, NJ would get way more screen time. And like, I don't know.
Just about NJ, I realize this now. I think it would have been good to have her also maybe explore like some sort of imposter syndrome. I don't know if it's the right term, but maybe just the idea of like, wanting to separate from, that identity. But then also recognizing that most of her skills, her achievements, experience come from that privilege and that identity. And so like the question of like, would I really be a good leader or whatever if I didn't have that or something? I mean, I don't know. I think that would have just been more interesting.
Yes. But, we got nothing from NJ because she did not show up. Yeah. She was the recurring cameo of the show. The way, Park Sodam was the recurring cameo of Record of Youth. No comment. We did not watch that show and we're glad we did not. But congratulations, Record of Youth. You're the second worst show this year. Congratulations, Startup. You're number 1 worst. Oh. Anyway. So yeah, NJ, screen time. Just, or like any story that is not inherently tied to Dalmi. Right? It's like the world revolves around Dalmi. That's kind of annoying because like they don't have their own... I keep thinking like, maybe it's just not that kind of show. Like, not every show is, missing where every lead has their own individual journey and, like, everyone can stand alone.
Yeah.
Not every show is like that. I get it. But it should be so much better.
Yeah, I mean, no, I get it. Like, I don't think they were planning to do a character study. I think they wanted to do kind of, like, a plot-driven show, like, in terms of the business. Similar to how Hot Stove League was. Yes. Right? But the thing is, the plot was so thin. It was so thin. And then it started falling apart when they tried to basically rewrite these characters.
The plot was so thin. Like, the business aspect plot was so thin. Because the truth is, they only wanted to do a love triangle.
Yes.
And that is something that would not exist. Would you put a love triangle in your rewrite?
I would do it until the reveal.
Yes.
And then, as we said, we'll probably do the reveal earlier, like maybe 2-3 episodes earlier. And then just end it there.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think it was... I mean, fine, honestly. I wouldn't have had GPong fall for that. Because why? Why? What do you see?
What is there to fall for?
What is
except
there
for
to
the
fall
face?
For? Right? And like, you're hot. You could get so many other girls, like Honey Lee, okay? I will continue this agenda, okay? So, there. I would not do it. But, like, if I have to, I would. But I would cut it short.
Yes.
And I would have used it to have, like, Ji-pyong make friends. Right? Why can I not see Ji-pyong with friends? He's funny!
I just keep thinking, like, what story would I want for Ji-pyong in the present? And I can't think of anything at all because literally,
they cut his screen time.
And, like, his entire existence is a Dodal plot vehicle.
Yes.
Really? I can't think of anything. to give him more development.
Yeah.
Because like the development they gave him is, he'll be less harsh, he'll be nicer with his words. And I hate that. I hate it so much. No, be harsh. Kim Sun-ho himself said, be harsh.
Be harsh.
Live as yourself. Right? So I really can't think of what development we could give to Ji Pyong.
Yeah. I mean, no, I think the relational part, like relating with others, I think that would have been an interesting plot. I would have wanted him to do that with, with Samsung. Like, I think that was kind of like the dynamic they were trying to go for, or they wanted to go for.
No.
I mean, in an ideal world, that is what I would go for. Because that's the obvious route. You have a bunch of misfits, like people with like a completely different worldview than yours. And you have to get along with them because you work together. Have them work together more.
You know how they messed that up? The revenge plot.
Right. We haven't talked about the revenge plot.
Which is the single, like, dumbest shoehorned plot line ever. And it only served to say, Ji Pyong is mean. He's not a good boy. He hurts people with his words. I mean, it was so terrible and so anticlimactic.
Right.
And, like, in the end, it still bit them in the ass because, like, if they didn't listen to Ji Pyong or even ask for his advice, and that's how they got acquired. Right? Right?
Exactly.
So anyway, yeah, I would remove that. It'll be like this cute found family.
Exactly.
Right? Mm. Yeah, found family, because that's really what Ji Pyong needs, a family.
Yeah.
He doesn't, I mean, sure, love would be great, but more importantly, he needs family, he needs friends, he needs people.
Right.
And just like this idea of like, okay, fine, you chose me as your mentor, and I'll, like, sure, let's make him like tsundere at the start. Like, okay, I'll be cold and analytic or whatever, and you might not like that, but like, Dalmi keeps asking for him for help, and then like every time Samsung achieve something, they report it to Ji Pyong, and like he sees their growth and they start working together more, and like, yeah, they just become closer naturally. Like, they include him in their jokes, in like when they were playing Ghost Stop together.
Yeah.
That was cute. That was a cute moment. Like, essentially just people being nice to Ji Pyong. Why can't people be nice to Ji Pyong?
That's what I meant when I think that that's what they were going for. Because I mean, they had those scenes
at the start, literally at the start. But then when he started like being their actual mentor, it's like, no, you're mean. You crush our dreams.
Right? And people are gonna be like, well, why would you tolerate mean people? Maybe because you need to grow up and look at their intentions more.
Maybe you need to understand he is your mentor.
Right? I mean, I'm like, what CEO Yoon told Yong-san after the time skip. It's like, all those investors, those are the types that will cheer you on even if you're jumping to the fire, something like that. And that's
how he realized that I need to apologize to Ji Pyong and listen to his advice.
Yes.
Right? Like, I read a tweet that said, Yong-san is the only person with decent character development in this show.
So yeah, that's another rewrite. That's what I rewrite. I mean, that's most of it. That's most of the show.
I mean,
I would rewrite the show.
We axed like a third of the show by axing like the love triangle,
Yeah.
And then at the end, like that shot of all four of them walking together.
Oh my god, I hate that.
So bad. It looked so fake. It was just so fake.
Even Kim Sun-ho did not look happy to be there.
Right? But like the point is, if they fixed their characters and actually made them, work together-ish, or like...
Right,
like
it would have made sense.
It would have made sense that they were walking together. And... Yeah, there, that's it. This show would make sense, for once. Because the show made no sense. It's like, they just said, okay, Dosan, you're the winner. So, Ji
Pyong, concede.
So, Ji Pyong, you're the loser now.
Yeah, and the thing is, they couldn't even set him free. He was supposed to leave, and then the CEO Yoon would say, no, stay and still be their mentor. And then at the end, it was like he was begging Dosan to let me be your mentor. Like, why? Why did he not do this to Ji Pyong? Set him free!
And then like, Dosan, like the handshake became the hug, and like people were like, whoa, they're friends! And I'm like,
so sure.
Huh?
No, it's not. I really just hate that. Again, same case of like point A to point B, but the journey does not make sense, and so you don't feel you don't feel whatever you're supposed to feel when you get to point B.
It's just like, once again, Ji Pyong was asked, to just stomach it. Like Ji Pyong, you're the more mature one, you're the older one, right? You're the ajushi here. So so you have to stomach it and just accept it and be mature and like, yes, okay,
Right.
we're okay now. I will be your mentor. I will also invest in you. Partly because they're still not rich, even if they got like $1 billion deal. But whatever.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing. Kim Son-ho acting thing again. Like in that scene, I think there's a part where like Ji Pyong like shakes Do-san's hand, but then he looks at it hesitantly or something. I can't help but feel like that was a Kim Son-ho thing rather than a writing thing. Because if you think about it, the purpose of that scene was to show that, oh, Ji Pyong and Do-san will be friends. So like, why you gotta show that you're hesitating? Because it's natural. Because that is how you feel when you lose the girl you love to someone.
Yes.
Right?
And like that someone wasn't even like a good sport about it or a nice guy. Like this guy has been, essentially an ass for years. And like for the, the time that you've seen each other and been together. And like suddenly now that he has the girl, he's a nice guy.
Right?
I got the girl, so we're good now. It's like, wow. You guys are not friends. And your apology is meaningless. Or your whatever peace you're trying to make, the amends you're trying to make, is meaningless. But whatever. Okay.
Right?
I guess Ji Pyong just has to stomach it because he's the good boy. He should be. Everyone else can be an ass. And, treat him as the emotional punching bag of this show. Right? But, Ji Pyong has to just suck it up.
Right. So, yeah. I mean, I think that was a Kim Son-ho edition. So, yeah. Yay!
I'm so tired.
I'm so tired emotionally. I mean, if we're gonna sleep, it's like we're not really gonna sleep. We're just gonna be on Reddit and on Twitter looking for like the comments.
Just people confirming that, okay, we all thought this was terrible, right? We're all here, right? Oh, the only ones who don't think this is terrible are, the stans, right? Okay, so, I mean, this is, I have felt empty and sad after watching shows, right?
Most of the time.
Most of the time, I feel sad. I'm just like, oh, I ended the show. I liked so much. Like, Missing, when I first finished that, like, I binged the last 4 episodes in one afternoon and I just, like, sat there listening to the OST and just, like, thinking, oh my god, life is so incomplete and I will never be happy. Something like that. And then when you finished My Mister, like, for me,
when I finish It's Okay to Not Be Okay.
Ooh,
that was heavy for me. Like,
yeah.
it took me a day to get over that.
Yeah. But, yeah, like, after finishing shows, you get, like, the post-show sadness, the post-show blues. And, like, yeah, that's normal. But this is, like, the post-show anger. Like, all I feel is anger. I remember when we first were talking about dropping this show, I said, are we gonna enjoy the show until the end, or are we just going to remember that we hated it?
Well, remember that we hated it.
Yeah, I was right. Even though it was my fault that we kept watching it.
I know. But,
like, I was right that, this, I'm never going to recommend this to people.
Never.
I am never going to tell them, like, this is a feel-good show. It's a good starter K-drama. Like, no, just watch Chloe. That's a great starter K-drama.
Yeah.
Show recommendations. Let's for anyone who wants to cleanse your palate after watching this terrible show. I'm sorry we're calling it terrible. It is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
If you want like good office drama, of course I mentioned Missing 1,000 times. Missing is the office drama of all office dramas. If you want a plot-driven show that's very tight and very fast-paced and that has no unnecessary subplots, Hot Stove League, a podcast on that is coming up soon. If you want a female lead that is a bit of a failure as well, but is able to, realistically, actually not even a female lead, all the characters realistically show like pursuing your dreams or having a dream or pursuing something, but it not being your dream or it not being meant for you. Do you like Brahms? Right? Perfect show about dreams. And it's realistic and it still has a love story. It still has a love triangle, if you're looking for that. But there. Other shows?
No, I'm thinking of like a show with like a strong female lead in a business kind of way.
Hyena.
Hyena.
You want a strong, literally strong female lead. Tragic backstory. Tragic backstory. Also has no family, but is really self-made. And her being self-made is very, like, justified. Like, you can really see how she survived in such a cutthroat industry. Watch Hyena.
And the thing with that is that there is a love story. But actually, it's such a believable love story. Like, girl would not, give in.
I mean, just watch Hyena. It's a great show.
Funny.
What else?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of a show if you really wanted to watch like the business part of stuff. I mean, a lot of people say like startup, the business, and like it's really not.
It's not about the business.
But if you wanted, I can't help but feel like I should have a recommendation since I watch a lot of non-romantic shows.
Yes, you should.
But I can't think of one. Like, life is one thing, but it's hospital centric. It's like a power struggle.
Yes, I mean, it's all about morals and values.
So maybe not that one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
If you want to be an intellectual, yes, life.
Yes, life. But yeah.
And yeah. I think we should stop.
Yeah.
Let us let this show go.
It's 2 a.m.
Kim Son-ho, you are free.
You are free
now.
We will support you in your next project in 2 days, 1 night.
Okay. Yes, if you want to see Kim Son-ho, just watch 2 days, 1 night. He's happy.
He's always happy.
He's so happy. And that's what we want. And if you made it to the end of this podcast, thank you for tuning in. What else?
No, I just wanted to say, to be fair, I mean, credits to, like the cast and the crew for like the hard work. Sure. I mean, no, just to be diplomatic about it. And like, it's like, I mean, they put in 8 months, and they did work hard. I guess, there's really only so much we can do sometimes with the time that we've been given, that, we have, and like, the effort we put into it. So, but yeah.
It was a show.
If anything, Kim Son-ho got what he needed from this show. Yeah. The show got what they needed from Kim Son-ho.
Yes.
So, yeah.
It's over. We are free.
Tabi is free.
So yes, if you made it to the end of this podcast, thank you for tuning in. This was a struggle, but this was not a struggle actually. This is like a normal conversation for us whenever we're talking about startup. Thank you, and see you if you still want to listen to me after this, after hearing my real unfiltered thoughts about things. But yes, thank you so much, and see you soon.
Annyeong.